Going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Brooks Warren. It's your host from HMO. Hear me out in the hot media, and I got two very, very talented young men with me here today from my county, Montgomery County, man. Aaron, Andrew, introduce yourselves, man.
What's up, everybody? So I guess I'll start since I'm the big brother. Uh, Aaron uh, grew up obviously with Andrew. Grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, in Tacoma Park. Went to Tacoma Park Middle School growing up, Piney Branch Elementary School, and the whole nine. Then went to Springbrook High School. Went on to play a year of prep school at Putnam Science Academy. Then to Quinnipiac University for 4 years. And then we just finished our last year at Coppin State, where we had a graduate year. Just finished hooping, and then obviously we started in a little page called All Facts Media. My brother and I started it together and basically we cover sports and stuff. So been able to get that going the past couple months really, and then obviously still still hooping, still staying in shape and everything. Just kind of trying to balance it all out. But that's brief summation.
Got you. All right, man. So first and foremost, like you guys mentioned, went to Montgomery County schools all your life. Um, did some great things. Your senior year at Springbrook, bro, y'all went, was it 24-3, went to Comcast Center, got to play against the Wise state championship game. What was that final year of high school ball like for y'all?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely fun. Created a lot of memories that year. We had a chance to do something that we hadn't done in a while and getting back to Comcast, winning a regional championship. So, I mean, that year was really special. Um, it was really important for us to kind of be able to kind of go out on a high note. We wish we would have been able to win the whole thing at States, but I think we still were able to, leave a legacy and make our mark known, in Montgomery County and at Springbrook as well. So it definitely was a special year. Something I always remember. I'll never forget cutting down the nets at Springbrook after we beat Delaney in that regional championship game. That was something I'll never forget, man. So it definitely was special.
Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, we had always since we came to Springbrook, dreaming of playing at Comcast. I mean, when we were in middle school, obviously our sixth, seventh, eighth grade year, Springbrook had won three state championships in a row. Obviously, '07, no, '08, '09, and 2010, they won 4A. So that was kind of the reason why we came to Springbrook in the first place was, we wanted to be a part of that. We wanted to put up our own banner. We wanted to be able to play at Maryland and, following the footsteps of guys like, Deshaun Walker, Jamal Lasaware, Zaid Hurst, guys that came to Springbrook, won a ring and then, had went on to play Division I basketball in college, whatever. So that was amazing just to be able to do that, be able to come to Springbrook, and then our senior year be able to make the Comcast. Unfortunately, we didn't get to bring home that state chip. It still haunts me and Drew. To this day, we feel like we had the best team in the state that year. I mean, if you look back, we had three D1 guys, me, Drew, and Jermaine Ducable. Obviously went Division One. Then we had Isaiah Eisendorf played Division Two basketball at Lemoyne. Now he's playing in the top league over in Israel professionally. And we had a guy, Falusek, came on the bench for us that played Division Two. Just finished up, scored 1,000 points at Franklin Pierce. Our point guard, Tavon Gangham, played in college. Our center was Alex Evans. He ended up playing football at ECU. So we had a loaded team for real, man. I
Sure.
mean, we had 5 scholarship players. You can't say that for a lot of guys, especially out of Montgomery County, to have 5 guys going to play, Division I, Division II basketball on a 4th scholarship. So I mean, we definitely wish we could have taken it home, but to be able to get that experience of playing at Comcast and winning the regional championship was definitely something special.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned just how, legendary this Springbrook program has been, how many championships they gotten. And you even mentioned Montgomery County not having too many teams like you guys did. Why do you think that Montgomery County kind of gets discredited as much as it does, as opposed to, Baltimore County, Baltimore City, and PG County?
I think that's an interesting question. I think it's because, and this is my opinion, I think that it's really just because a lot of people in Montgomery County are, and I'm not speaking for the whole county, but a lot of people in Montgomery County have a sense of like privilege to where like there's a lot of people who can go to college and who don't really need sports. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people who are in Montgomery County who go on to be like doctors and lawyers and do great things in life. And there's a lot of people who have a lot of money in Montgomery County. Obviously, if you're looking at schools like, Churchill and the Whitmans and the Walter Johnsons all the way out there, like there's kind of this sense of privilege to where like people don't really look at Montgomery County for basketball, but like as opposed to you have people like if you think about like you mentioned, Baltimore City or PG County, you got a lot of areas like obviously Suitland, Oxon Hill, like a lot of areas in PG County where like a lot of low income neighborhoods. And not to say that there aren't low income neighborhoods in Montgomery County, but I think basketball is just a little bit more of a premium in those areas to where like it's like life or death for a lot of people in those communities to where basketball just played at a lot, like it just played a lot more frequently and with a lot more urgency, I would say. But that's not to say that there's not people in Montgomery County who have that same situation, might be coming from a low income neighborhood who might not have a chance, things like that. But I think that, Montgomery County is like one of the most like one of the best educational systems in the country as far as like people going to school and getting education and what they're learning in the classroom. So I mean, I think it's just really because of that people are known for like a lot of other things as opposed to like PG County and Baltimore and things like that. That's just my opinion.
Got you.
I mean, for me, I think a lot of people in Montgomery County hoops because you look at public school basketball. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of guys that are from Montgomery County end up transferring to other schools, like your WCSC schools, your IAC schools, and then they get forgotten about. People don't really realize that they're from Montgomery County. You know what I'm saying? You got a guy like a Josh Hart that's from Wheaton, went to Wheaton High School, but then transferred to Sidwell and went to Nova and won that championship. Now he's obviously in the NBA, but people don't remember he's from Montgomery County. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you got there's a young kid at the Mather right now. He starts with the
Graham
Mather,
Hall.
but he was at Gaithersburg. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like 2
boy.
years ago, he was killing at Gaithersburg, but it's a Montgomery County kid. He's about to go high major. You know what I'm saying? Guys like Elijah Wood does at BCC, and he's about to he transferred to like a prep school or somewhere out of state, and he's gonna end up going high major somewhere. But even like this, I think there's a lot of guys like that are from Montgomery County that transfer, out of Montgomery County or that go to WCAC schools, and you don't really realize, oh, these guys are Montgomery County kids. You know what I'm saying? But, and then also I feel like Drew said, there's this idea that Montgomery County kids are privileged or this or that, but there's guys that are from Montgomery County that made it to the highest level. You know what I'm saying? The guy like in Marco Miller that went to Gaithersburg and then went to Holy Cross, played 4 years there. Played for the Raptors. He's won an NBA championship with the Raptors. Like he's from Gaithersburg High School and played in Montgomery County. I bet nobody would really know that because you don't hear about it a lot. He didn't play for Team Takeover or DC Assault or any of them teams. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like a lot of hoopers from Montgomery County just kind of get overlooked just because of maybe who they play AAU ball with or the school they transferred to or things like that.
Got you. So kind of going with that overlooked thing that you mentioned, just coming from an overlooked place. You guys went to Putnam, like you mentioned. Um, what's that experience like when you're playing on a team full of talented guys like you guys are, who are looking for the scholarships that you guys are looking for as well?
Yeah. I mean, it was a great opportunity. I think it really just allows you to challenge yourself and, put yourself in position to play against the best players in the country. Because, like you mentioned in Montgomery County, a lot of times people transfer out because like the public school league isn't as competitive as you would probably need to be in order to get Division I scholarship. So going from playing in Montgomery County and then going to play at Putnam Science Academy when you're playing against Brewster, who that year had Donovan Mitchell, who obviously is in the NBA, Marcus Garrison, who played in the NBA for the Warriors, Jalen Adams, who went to UConn and is in the Pelicans organization right now. They had a guy named David Crisp, who was a 1,000-point scorer at Washington. They had 7 high major players at Brewster. You playing against, Hargrave, who had a bunch of guys. Like, I mean, you're playing against high major and NBA level talent up there. You know what I'm saying? So when you go from Montgomery County and going to that, I mean, you had no choice but to get better. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously on our own Putnam Science Academy team, playing with a guy like Hamidou Diallo, who's in the NBA now, slam dunk champion or whatever. We had playing against a guy like him and Mamadou Diarra, who was a top 50 recruit and went to UConn, things like that. I mean, you had no choice but to get better because you're playing against guys in practice every day who won a scholarship, who were overlooked. We had a lot of guys who came to Putnam Science Academy who didn't have any offers, or Division I offers, and came to prep school and became Division I players. One of my best friends, Keelan Eyes, he's like about a 5'8", 5'9" point guard from Rhode Island, didn't have any Division One offers when he came to Putnam. Came to PSA, ended up going to Ryder on scholarship. And a guy named Dondre Roden didn't have any. He was like a Division III player probably when he came to Putnam. Came to PSA, ended up going to Fairleigh Dickinson, which is Division I school in the NEC, and they went to the NCAA tournament his freshman year. So we had a lot of guys like that just had a chip on their shoulder that were coming to prep school to get a scholarship. So it just made me a better player, and it just made me competitive. And I was already competitive before, but it made me that much more competitive just because you have to up your level of play when you're going against that caliber of player. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, Aaron, like how'd you feel about the competition level, just playing up against so many players that you guys got to go against? Like, what are some of those memories that you have of just going up against, so many good guys?
I mean, you can't really. It's crazy, man. The practices in the open gyms were tougher than the games because we would. Me and Drew would play Hami and Keelan 2-on-2 like every week. Because it's a sense of pride. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Drew, obviously from Montgomery County, we from the DMV, and then obviously like Hami and them from New York, Keelan from Rhode Island. You know what I'm saying? We had guys, and I don't think this is necessarily a Moco thing, but DMV dude, we got that sense of pride. Like I don't care where I'm at. Like I'm that. Like you ain't like like I'm
Yeah,
better than you. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care. Like obviously we got some of the best players in the world come from here. So it's like I ain't about to go up there and let no New York dude think he can fry me. Like, I ain't about to let no dude from Rhode Island think he can fry me. You know what I'm saying? Like so we was taking that in practice at every gym, in open gym every day. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that everybody that I know from the DMV and from Montgomery County, especially Montgomery County, because we go overlook twice full because we from Montgomery County, but I just think we had that chip on our shoulder. And you saying you go into a game, when you're playing against a Brewster and you got 7 high major dudes saying, "Oh, these dudes NBA, like these dudes this and that." You like, man, I ain't hearing none of that. Like, 'cause we was all hungry, like Drew said. Like we all came there. We didn't have no. A lot of us didn't have no offers. Like when Hami was there, this was his sophomore year. He didn't have any offers when he got there. Mamadou didn't have any offers. Like he might have some mid majors, but he didn't have any high major offers. When he got there. So we were hungry, you know what I'm saying? And like we all had chip on our shoulder. We all had something to prove. And so just on a day in, day out basis in open gyms, we would just compete every day, you know what I'm saying? And then obviously in the games, we had a whole team. We had 7, 8 dudes that was like, yeah, I don't care what the name on that jersey is. Like we going out and we gonna hoop. And we ended up finishing, like numbers. I think we ended up finishing like number 7 in the country that year. You know what I'm saying? We beat Harvard in Virginia, beat Fishburne in Virginia. We beat Fort Union, who had Kyrie Thomas. He plays for the Pistons now. They had a guy named Kamal Stokes from Baltimore, who played at Kansas State.
The
We
IMG,
now, huh?
IMG too with
Oh
Jaquan
yeah,
Lyle.
MG. They had Jaquan Lyle. They had a dude named Satnam Singh that ended up getting drafted by the Mavericks, but some big 7-foot dude. But we beat a bunch of dudes. Like we had a chip on our shoulder. You know what I'm saying, and we wasn't about to let nobody come in there and think they was gonna punk us. And I think part of that was just because we all came from different places where it was like, nah, like my area, like New York dudes, thought they was the best. We had like 3 New York dudes, Javi, Mamadou, and then we had a kid named Josh Wallace. That's from New York too. Now obviously you had me and Drew from the DMV. You know what I'm saying? We all had that pride. Like, man, I don't care what it is. Like we here to hoop. So it was a great time, man. I can't really put into words how good of an experience it was going up there and getting that bump and then having to prepare us for the next level.
for sure. So moving on to just, Quinnipiac and Coppin State. Um, First off, how was Quinnipiac for you guys, and just, transitioning to again, like you go from Putnam and you're living on your own, you get into just experience life, living by yourself, and then you go to even further out and you get to play, 3 years, 4 years that you got to play. How was that experience for y'all?
Yeah, Putnam Science Academy prepared us greatly for Quinnipiac, just because one, it was already in Connecticut, so like we got a chance to be in Putnam for a year, which is all the way up in the northeast part of Connecticut, right? Like 30 minutes from Providence and 30 minutes from Worcester. And then we kind of came a little south to Quinnipiac, which is in New Haven, close to New Haven, it's in Hamden, Connecticut. So we got to kind of, and when we were at Putnam, we would go to Quinnipiac we probably visited Quinnipiac probably like 5 times, maybe more while we were at PSA, just because it was like an hour away. So
Mm-hmm.
we would come up to campus, see games, come chill with the guys. So we were like freshmen that year at Quinnipiac for like we got there the next year at Quinnipiac. People were like, yeah, man, like we y'all sophomores, juniors. Like, nah, I'm a freshman. It was like, nah, dog, we seen y'all here last year. Like, we was like, nah, I was just up here. I didn't even go here then, you know? So, I mean, it gave us opportunities to kind of get acclimated to college life, really. So we were kind of prepared for the transition, just being away from home, knowing, like, the hours you got to put into being in the gym, you know, all that kind of PSA kind of prepared us for that at Quinnipiac. And then going from Quinnipiac to Coppin State, it was kind of like a homecoming. You know, being away from home for 5 years, you know, one year at PSA, 4 years at Quinnipiac, you know, being away for 5 years, being in Connecticut, and then being able to come back to Maryland for like the last ride at Coppin was great. You know, it was really rewarding to be able to come back to Maryland and play in front of my family, you know, for one last year, and you know, then being able to come to our home games, and you know, my brothers and sisters being able to come to senior night and things like that you know they weren't really able to do when we were at Quinnipiac. So, I mean, it was all like a progression. It was all a part of the process, a part of the journey. You know, I think each step prepared us, you know, for where we are now.
And I mean, I would say it definitely was a rewarding experience. I think, you know, people kind of take for granted. I think going through the recruiting process, um, obviously a lot of kids kind of just only consider the basketball aspect of things. You know what I'm saying? And when we were at Putnam, we were going through obviously in Springbrook as well, going through the recruiting process. We kind of always, you know, wanted to figure out, you know, how is this next stop going to prepare us for life down the road. So one of the things that stuck out about Quinnipiac was the journalism program there. So obviously, first things first, it's located in Connecticut, which is, you know, right in between two major media markets. So you're right in between New York and Boston. You know, so
Yep.
a lot of kids, you know, first of all, a lot of kids are from either Boston or New York. You know, and then but if you're a short drive from New York, short drive from Boston, and then obviously the ESPN headquarters is in Connecticut, in Bristol, which is probably about 30 minutes from Quinnipiac. So you had a lot of kids that would do internships at ESPN, or they were stationed WTNH, the New Haven station, right down the road from Quinnipiac in New Haven. A lot of kids would do internships there. And then aside from that, Quinnipiac is one of the best journalism schools in the country. Like every year, like a top 5, top 10 journalism school, just because of the program that they have, and then the student media organizations that they have there as well. The one that Andrew and I participated in was called Q30 Sports, which basically like ESPN for Quinnipiac, and we had 2 weekly shows. One of them was called Sports Pause. It was every Monday night, and that show was actually won Best College News Station. I think like 4 of the last 6 years, something like that. They won a number of the best sports news station, sports show in the country. Couple years out of the last 5 or something like that. And then there was a show Tuesday night called Bobcat Breakdown, which was like first take, so it was like a debate style show. And then my senior year, I had the opportunity to be a beat reporter for the men's lacrosse team. I had to do a bunch of little fun like segments, but long story short, like the journalism program there was really well. It was really good as well, and we knew going into that's kind of something we wanted to get into after basketball. So um, definitely loved the chance to go there and study journalism and to get involved in student media in the way that we did. And then coming to Coppin, it was kind of like a 180 because, Coppin State didn't have the resources that a Quinnipiac had in terms of money and, programs and things of that sort. So we couldn't, there was no journalism program there. There was no student media. So we kind of had to get creative. And that's kind of where this All Facts Media came from. We kind of basically were like, you know what? Because, like I said, the thing we did at Quinnipiac was called Q30 Sports. So we kind of like, man, we're going to make our own Q30. We're going to cover Coppin State athletics. We're going to cover sports and, do our own thing. So that's kind of where the all facts stuff came from. And then we kind of just took it off from there. But long story short, I think, both stops, both Quinnipiac and Coppin have prepared us for, life on the court and off the court as well. So both places were definitely places where we were able to grow, both as players and as people.
I'm gonna follow up on that in a little bit, but you know, you mentioned like that homecoming coming back to Coppin State, and you get to play in front of your family again. Just how great was that for you guys to finally be able to just finish up your college careers in front of your family and friends, being able to just, like you said, Andrew, have the senior night and be able to represent, your family right in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was great, man. Like a lot of my for a lot of my family, like they only got to see maybe like one, or maybe some of them really hadn't seen us play in person at all. before this year. So I mean, for me, just for my family and my cousins and brothers and sisters, and even some of my friends that never saw me play before since high school. I had friends come to games here who hadn't seen a game since we was at Springbrook. So, for me, that was very rewarding. For my friends to be able to come to games, and for my family to be able to come to games and see, the good and the bad and see everything. But just to be able to be back in Maryland, was great. Um, this is where it all started. So for me, it was kind of a no brainer to kind of be able to come back home and finish the story, the way we were supposed to. So I think it was great.
And I want to ask you, go ahead, bro.
Oh no, I mean, Drew pretty much summed it up. I mean, I think it was amazing just to be able to come home and be able to if you want to get a home cooked meal on a Wednesday night. If we were you know uh, coming home from practice one day and didn't feel like cooking or something, I'm gonna just go home and get a nice home cooked meal. It was great to be able to do that. Obviously, like Drew said, you can see our friends. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of take for granted being able to just see your family and friends whenever you want to when you go away from school. But coming home and being able to do that, just being able to go home on a whim and get a home cooked meal and look up in the stands and see 20 people, what I'm saying, in the stands, whether it's your friends, family, coaches, anybody. It was really rewarding. I think just having the opportunity to come back and finish our careers where it all started was definitely rewarding.
I want to ask y'all this: would you rather have just stayed out in Connecticut, or would you rather have just been able to stay out in Baltimore and do what you guys did here back home? Like, what was like? I guess my question is, which do you prefer? Like that home experience, or do you prefer being away from home?
Yeah. I mean, nothing. Well, I mean, first of all, nothing really beats being home, just because this is where it all started. But like Ace said, like, I would never say like, I regret going to Connecticut or going to Putnam or anything like that, because everything that we learned at PSA and at Quinnipiac kind of prepared us for who we are now. So if I don't know what would have happened if we would have just went to Coppin out of high school, or like I had a couple schools. I had like Towson offered me in high school, UMBC offered me out of high school. I could have went to any of those schools and been local, but we wouldn't have been able to play together at those schools. So I mean, I think the journey and the path that we took, staying together and going from PSA to Quinnipiac and to coming back home, I think everything worked out the way it was supposed to. And obviously, another big thing was like our mom. Our mom, she passed away our sophomore year, and I appreciate it, man. But she passed away our sophomore year and of college, and she like when we visited Quinnipiac, like they came and they picked her up from Maryland on our official visit and drove her up. Like they left from Connecticut, got a van, drove to Maryland, picked her up because she was handicapped at the time. She was in a wheelchair, so drove her back up to Connecticut. And after when the visit was over, drove her back home and drove back. So I mean, she was able to kind of see where we were at in college. Like that was like her like I think it just gave her peace really to know her boys were taking care of me in Connecticut. So like another big thing for me was like being able to obviously when she passed away in my sophomore year, like and then going through what we both went through at Quinnipiac with a lot of going through adversity with injuries and a lot of other stuff that was going on, and then being able to like come home for our last year, it's kind of like it was like a homecoming for our mom. You know what I'm saying? Being able to like be back where it all started. Back in high school. Like the last game our mom ever saw us play was in high school. Was that regional title that we won at Springbrook. That was the last game that she ever saw us play in high school. She was in the hospital when we went to Comcast and ended up losing. So for me, like knowing like the last game my mom was able to ever see us play was a win at Springbrook, cutting down the nets, and then for it all to come full circle, for us to be able to come back home and finish our last year was like, a great part of the story. So,
That's
you know,
beautiful.
yeah, I mean, it definitely was kind of like real poetic, how it ended up happening.
Yeah, I mean, Drew pretty much summed it up, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, I take nothing away from either spot. I think everybody's different. You know what I'm saying? So you can't necessarily, like Drew said, if we would have went to Coppin first, we probably wouldn't have been the people that we are today. And if we'd have never came to Coppin, if we stayed at Quinnipiac, then probably wouldn't have been where we are today. So, I mean, I think like Drew said, I think our path was ordered, and I think it definitely was all in God's plan, thankful to be where we are today.
Andrew, Aaron, your brother mentioned how big it was for y'all two to play together, and just continue that relationship that you guys have. In your perspective, how big was that for you, and just being able to have, your brother, your best friend, right there with you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely special. I know this is, life has a funny way of working out. It seems like over the course of our life, we haven't really been able to just separate from each other. We've tried multiple times. Coming out of high school, I was supposed to just go right to college. I had a couple of offers from schools I was going to choose from, and Ace was supposed to go the prep school route, and that was going to be the first time we were going to be separated. And then obviously PSA ended up like, oh, they found out Ace had a twin, and then they started recruiting me. Like, well, he wanted to come to prep school, and I ended up going there. And then even with the Coppin thing, I was originally committed to Bryant in Rhode Island, which is a great program. I was really excited to go there. And then I just felt like something was pulling me, and I felt like God was telling me that I needed to be back closer to home, closer to my family. So I ended up decommitting from there. And then, by the grace of God, I found my way to Coppin, with Aaron again. So I think life has a mysterious way of working out, but like I said, I think, it was great to be able to finish off our careers playing together and playing at a high level, and, being able to have somewhat success this year and doing some things that Coppin hadn't been able to do in a couple of years in the non-conference schedule and things like that. So, I mean, it's always great to be able to play with your twin brother. Obviously, not many people have a twin brother, so definitely a blessing, and I'm glad we were able to, finish our story off the way we did.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that was always something that we kept in the back of our. It was always the plan to go to school together. You come out of high school, everybody knew that we wanted to go to school together. Our mom kind of wanted us. Because we always had our mom in the back of our head. We were at two different universities. It would be hard for her to come see us play. If I was in one state and she was in another state, and was she gonna go to see Andrew play in Philadelphia and then come and see me play in Connecticut, and then it would just been tough on her, tough on our little brother Adam, because obviously we have a little brother Adam who's 3 years under us. Well, he's gonna be 20. Could be 20 in August. So me, Drew, my brother, and my mom. How you grew up basically. Us four. You know what I'm saying? Three boys and single mother, single parent households. We were all extremely close growing up. So we were like, all right, well, what if Adam wants to come stay with us? He gonna come stay with Drew, and then gonna come stay with me or something like. And obviously, me and Drew, we never really been apart. So it was always we never really wanted to split up. So it was always the plan to be able to come to college together, and um, obviously we got to go to Putnam together, and then by the grace of God, I got to go to Quinnipiac together, and then even when we wanted to split up, you know what I'm saying, we ended up going to Coppin together. So it's been an extremely unique situation, obviously, because like Drew said, not many people have a twin brother, and those that do have a twin brother, the other one might not play the same sport, and if they do, so maybe they don't go to the same school, but we've been attached at the hip. It seems like our whole lives, so it's just been a blessing to kind of be able to embark on that journey together.
So 1v1, who's winning, man?
That's me.
I'm winning. I'm winning easily, and the last 3 times we played 1-on-1, I came out victorious. This was at Quinnipiac. This is facts, and Ace knows it. So if he wants
on camera, man.
I don't know why.
And it's crazy. Like it's crazy he's lying on camera right now. Like if you tell me you have the lifetime W's, I have more lifetime W's 1-on-1 than Drew. That's facts. All facts.
I won last 3 games.
I have more lifetime W's.
That's not true.
That's facts.
I don't know, man. It's crazy. That's crazy. I love it. I love to see it, man. I love the brotherly rivalry. My guy or gal, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and share this video for the latest on sports, progressive politics, and pop culture. Slash.